ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जायमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामीनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. We are reading from Canto 4, Chapter 24, chanting the song sung by Lord Shiva, that is Rudra Gita. So we are at text 57, very wonderful verse. We recited this yesterday. We will recite this today as well. Lord Shiva is speaking this. Okay. क्षणार्धेनापि तुलये
क्षणार्धेनापि तुलये
स्वर्गं न पुनर्भवम्
न
न
स्वर्गं
स्वर्गं
स्वर्गं न
न
पुनर्भवम्
पुनर्भवम्
भगवत्सङ्गसङ्गस्य
भगवतसङ्गिसङ्गस्य
भगवत्सङ्गसङ्गस्य
मर्त्यानां किमुताशयः।
मर्त्यानां
मर्त्यानां
किमुताशितः.
किमुतास्य
Translation.
If one by chance associates with a devotee, even for a fraction of a moment, he no longer is subject to attraction by the results of karma or jnana. What interest then can he have in the benedictions of the demigods, who are subject to the laws of birth and death? Purport. Out of the three kinds of men, the karmis, jnanis, and bhaktas, the bhakta is described herein as the most exalted. Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati had sung, Kaivalyam narakayate tridasha pura akasha pushpayate Chaitanya Charitamrita. The word Kaivalya means to merge into the effulgence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the word Tridasha Pura refers to the heavenly planets where the demigods live. Thus, for a devotee, Kaivalya Sukha, or merging into the existence of the Lord, is hellish, because the Bhakta considers it suicidal, to lose his individuality and merge into the effulgence of Brahman. The Bhakta always wants to retain his individuality in order to render service to the Lord. Indeed, he considers promotion to the upper planetary systems to be no better than a will o' the wisp. Temporary material happiness holds no value for a devotee. The devotee is in such an exalted position that he is not interested in the actions of karma or jnana. The resultant actions of karma and jnana are so insignificant to a devotee situated on the transcendental platform that he is not in the least interested in them. Bhakti Yoga is sufficient to give the Bhakta all happiness. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.6, Yayatma Suprasidati. One can be fully satisfied simply by devotional service. And that is the result of association with a devotee. Without being blessed by a pure devotee, no one can be fully satisfied, nor can anyone understand the transcendental position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna.
So now Lord Shiva says, Kshanardhena pitulaye. How much association? Even the Ardha Kshana Ardhe apitulaye, na swargam na punarbhavam. This cannot be compared to happiness in the Swargaloka or even the happiness of Kaivalya na punarbhavam. Bhagavad Sangi Sangasya, this is the glory of the association of the pure devotee, Martyanam, for a conditioned soul, Kimuta Shishah. What can be greater benediction for somebody than the half kshana of the association of pure devotee? In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that there are three kinds of transcendentalists or three kinds of people: karmis, jnanis, and bhaktas. So, karmis are trying to find the happiness, and ultimate goal of their happiness is to travel to the other planets, right? Our Musk Baba is doing the same thing, trying to fly to another planet, and there is so much of excitement around it. Of course, the engineering is very fascinating, but the end result is not so fascinating, right? So swargam, na swargam. So karmis are interested in swarga. Jnanis, they are interested in apunarbhavam. They want to become one with the Supreme. But for a devotee, this aspiration is summarized very beautifully by Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati, who says, Kaivalyam narakayate. Kaivalyam narakayate. Tridashapur akasha pushpayate. That Kaivalya, for, people aspire for Kaivalya. Of course, the word Kaivalya at times is used for, even the Supreme Lord also, Kaivalya Pataye Namaha, that we have seen the previous verse. But here, Kaivalyam is indicating towards the merging with the Supreme, becoming one with the Lord. Atma hi Paramatma ban gaya, Jiva Shivachi bhet ho gayi, and then there are so many n number of permutation combinations of this, right? So this is hellish for a devotee. Why? Because when there is no individuality, there is no chance of rendering service to the Supreme Lord. So for a devotee, Kaivalya Sukha is considered to be the hellish and suicidal, because one will lose the individuality by merging into the effulgence of Brahman. And therefore, devotee always aspires to perform devotional service, and therefore this kind of happiness is naraka for a devotee, right? So sometimes somebody's name is Kaivalya also. So if somebody is attending of the name Kaivalya, don't feel bad. This Kaivalya here is indicated with some different connotation. Kaivalya is also a beautiful name. Kaivalyapati is the name of the Supreme Lord, giver of the benediction, but with this connotation, right? Prabhupada says a devotee is in such an exalted position that he is not interested in the actions of karma or jnana. That means he is not interested in swarga or apunarbhavam. He is not interested in swarga or apunarbhava. There is a very beautiful prayer by Vritrasur. So there also he prays. Nanakaprushtam, na chaparamishtam, na sarvabhaumam, na rasatipatyam. He says that I am not interested in Nanakaprushtam, the Dhruva planet, na paramishtam, na sarvabhaumam, na rasatipatyam. So this is the exalted position of a devotee, because Bhakti Yoga is sufficient to give Bhakta all the happiness. Right? We are not aspiring for something else other than Bhakti Yoga. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhakti radokshaje ahaituki apratihata yayatma suprasidati. Soul can be completely satisfied by the performance of devotional service and the association of a devotee. And Prabhupada says, without being blessed by a pure devotee, no one can be fully satisfied, nor can one understand the transcendental position of the Supreme Lord. So the receiving blessings from a devotee should be one very important part of our devotional service. That whenever we are doing some new project, new activity, it is not that we are asking the decision from them, and thus we are transferring the responsibility of our decision. This is not the mood. But whenever we are starting something, we should always ask that, Prabhuji, Mataji, whoever your senior is, do I have your heartfelt blessing for this initiative? Do I have your heartfelt permission for this initiative? Right? And one should really openly ask this, not for the sake of asking it. So the blessings of a devotee, right? Very amazing verse. Kshanardhenapi tulaye na swargam na punarbhavam bhagavat sangi sangasya martyanam. For a person who is about to die, means all of us, martyanam, martya people, kim utashishah. What can be greater benediction? Text 58. अथानघ्राणेनस्तव कीर्तितीर्थयोर् अन्तर्बहिर्स्नानविधूतपाप्मनाम् भूतेष्वनुक्रोशसुत्सत्त्वानुशीलनाम् स्यात्सङ्गमानुग्रह एष नस्तवः. Translation?
Translation, my dear Lord, your lotus feet are the cause of all auspicious things and the destroyer of all the contamination of sin. I therefore beg your Lordship to bless me by the association of your devotees who are completely purified by worshipping your lotus feet and who are so merciful upon the conditioned souls. I think that your real benediction will be to allow me to associate with such devotees. Purport. The Ganges water is celebrated as being able to eradicate all kinds of sinful reactions. In other words, when a person takes his bath in the Ganges, he becomes freed from all life's contaminations. The Ganges water is celebrated in this way because it emanates from the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Similarly, those who are directly in touch with the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and who are absorbed in the chanting of his glories are freed from all material contamination. Such unalloyed devotees are able to show mercy to the common conditioned soul. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur has sung that the devotees of Lord Chaitanya are so powerful that each one of them can deliver a universe. In other words, it is a business of devotees to preach the glories of the Lord and deliver all conditioned souls to the platform of Shuddha Sattva, pure goodness. Here the word Su Sattva means Shuddha Sattva, the transcendental stage beyond material goodness. By his exemplary prayers, Lord Shiva teaches us that our best course is to take shelter of Lord Vishnu and his Vaishnava devotees. Hare Krishna.
Very amazing prayer this is. Okay. So what Lord Shiva is saying here, how to pray to the Supreme Lord? He said, my dear Lord, the real benediction is, please allow me to associate with your pure devotees. Why? Because they have taken the shelter of your lotus feet, which are the cause of all auspiciousness and destroyer of the contamination of the sin. So, verse begins with, my dear Lord, your lotus feet are the cause of all auspiciousness and destroyer of all the sins, and there are devotees who are completely purifying by worshipping your lotus feet. Therefore, the real benediction I can have is, please allow me to associate with your pure devotees. Right, very amazing prayer here. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that Mother Ganga is considered all pure because it is Charanamrit of the Supreme Lord. And similarly, because Mother Ganga has taken the shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, similarly, the devotees of the Lord who have taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, they are equally or more purifying than Mother Ganga. Right? There is a beautiful song which says, Gangara parasha hoile पश्चाते पावान दर्शने पवित्र करो ए तुम्हार गुण. For Ganga to be effective, one has to be physically touched by Ganga. Gangaras parsha hoile pashyate pavan. Darshane pavitra koro ei tomar gun. O Vaishnava Thakur, simply by the darshan of your personality, darshan of you, we get purified. And therefore, a devotee of the Lord is as purifying or more purifying than Mother Ganga, because both of them have taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. Right. And then Srila Prabhupada quotes Vrindavan Das Thakur that, Brahmanda Tarite Shakti Dhare Jane Jane. This is, the potency of the Chaitanya's devotee. that Brahmanda Tarite Shakti Dhare Jane Jane, even one devotee can actually liberate entire Brahmanda. And Srila Prabhupada literally, showed this. And this is the business of a devotee. How they do that? By to preach the glories of the Lord and thus deliver all conditioned souls. And therefore, they are called as Bhuridajana. By his exemplary prayers, Prabhupada concludes, Lord Shiva teaches us what is the best course of action to take shelter of the Lord Vishnu and his devotees. Right? And that's why, because of these exemplary prayers, that's why he is Mahajano Yena Gatha Sapantaha. This is the Mahajan Lord Shiva. Text 59. Again, a very beautiful prayer. One second. न यस्य चित्तं बहिरर्थविभ्रमं तमो गुहायां च विशुद्धमावितः यद्भक्तियोगानुगृहीतं गृहीताञ्जसा मुनिर्विचस्तेननु तत्र ते गतिम्. Translation.
The devotee whose heart has been completely cleansed by the process of devotional service and who is favored by Bhakti Devi does not become bewildered by the external energy, which is just like a dark well. Being completely cleansed of all material contamination in this way, a devotee is able to understand very happily your name, fame, form, activities, etc. Purport. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 3.25.25, Satam prasangan mama virya samvido bhavanti hritkarna prasayanaha katha tad tajjoshanat ashva अपवर्ग वर्तमानी श्रद्धा रतिर भक्तिर अनुक्रमश्यति. Simply by the association of pure devotees, one can understand the transcendental name, fame, quality, and activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has repeatedly said, Sadhu Sangha Sarva Shastrakaya, Lava Matra Sadhu Sanghe Sarva Siddhihaya. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 22.54. Simply by associating with a pure devotee, one becomes wonderfully advanced in Krishna consciousness. Sadhu Sangha or association with a devotee means always engaging in Krishna consciousness by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra and by acting for Krishna. Specifically, chanting the Hare Krishna mantra purifies one, and this chanting is therefore recommended by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Cheto Darpana Marjanam. By chanting the names of Krishna, the mirror of the heart is cleansed, and the devotee loses interest in everything external. When one is influenced by the external energy of the Lord, his heart is impure. When one's heart is not pure, he cannot see how things are related to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Idam hi Vishwam Bhagwan Ivetarataha. Bhagavatam 1.5.20. He whose heart is purified can see that the whole cosmic manifestation is but the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But he whose heart is contaminated sees things differently. Therefore, by satsanga or association with devotees, one becomes perfectly pure in heart.
Yeah. So we'll read in section. Now Lord Shiva prays, Nayasya Chittam Bahirartha Vibhrama. Right. So this is the test of the purity. The devotee whose heart has been completely cleansed by the process of devotional service does not becomes bewildered by the external energy. Bahirartha Vibhrama. Correct. Which is like a dark well. Being completely cleansed, a devotee is able to understand very happily your name, fame, form, and activities. So, Bahirartha Vibhrama, and very happily, this is to be noted. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada quotes, Satam Prasangat Mama Virya Samvido. How the devotee of the Lord is always engaged in hearing the Virya Katha, Virya Gatha of the Supreme Lord, Bhavanti Ritkarna Rasayana Katha. That becomes Ritkarna Rasayan. It's a Rasayan for the Rit, for the heart, and for the ears as well. Tajjoshanada Ashva Pavarga Vartmani. Shraddha, Ratir, Bhaktir, Anukramishyati. And this is how he progressively attained Shraddha, Rati, Bhakti in the sequence. So simply by the association of a devotee, one develops attraction and appreciation for the name, fame, quality, and pastimes of the Supreme Lord. This is so amazing, right? How the attraction comes? Attraction comes from association. It is very important. And therefore, Sangat Sanjayate Kamaha, right? Sangat Sanjayate Kamaha means from our desires, they come from association, and therefore one has to be very positively taking care of the association. And then Srila Prabhupada quotes another verse: Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastra Kay, Lavamatra Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hai. Simply by associating with the pure devotee, one becomes wonderfully advanced in Krishna consciousness. Right. So the point is how to associate with the devotees. So there are wonderful ways to associate with the devotees. One is, many devotees, they take house near a temple so that they can go for japa in the morning. So, chanting japa with the devotees is one of the fantastic way of associating, right? Then having some weekly program where, we all go and learn something. So having weekly program is also another great association. And third, of course, a very wonderful association we have in the morning of Srila Prabhupada is our, Bhagavatam reading, studying circle in the morning. Here we are associating with Srila Prabhupada day in, day out, without fail, as one of the top priority of the day, right? So, by chanting Hare Krishna and by acting for Krishna, Prabhupada says, one should keep oneself engaged. And the result is one's heart will be purified. And what happens is, when one's heart is not pure, he cannot see the things in relation with the Supreme. Right? Bhajam dvitiya abhiniveta yasyat. And then therefore what happens is, immediately one becomes greatly afraid and fearful. And the whole cosmic manifestation is running like this. And therefore, satsanga, association of the devotee, one becomes perfectly pure in the heart. Yeah, please continue.
Simply by associating with a pure devotee, one becomes wonderfully advanced in Krishna consciousness. Sadhu Sangha, or association with a devotee, means always engaging in Krishna consciousness by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra and by acting for Krishna. Specifically,
Next paragraph. One who is pure in the heart.
Okay. One who is pure in heart is never attracted by the external energy, which urges the individual soul to try to dominate material nature. The pure heart of a devotee is never disturbed when he executes devotional service in the form of hearing, chanting, remembering, etc. In all, there are 9 processes one can follow in the execution of devotional service. In any case, a pure-hearted devotee is never disturbed. The Bhakti Yoga process must be carried out by avoiding 10 offenses one can commit while chanting the Mahamantra, and the 64 offenses one can commit while worshipping the deity. When a devotee strictly follows the rules and regulations, Bhakti Devi becomes very much satisfied with him, and at that time, he is never disturbed by anything external. A devotee is also called a Muni. The word Muni means thoughtful. A devotee is as thoughtful as a non-devotee is speculative. The non-devotee's speculation is impure, but a devotee's thoughts are pure. Lord Kapila and Shukadeva Goswami are also called Muni, and Vyasadeva is addressed as Mahamuni. A devotee is addressed as Muni or thoughtful when he purely understands the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The conclusion is that when one's heart is purified by the association of devotees and by the avoidance of the offenses committed when chanting and worshipping the Lord, the transcendental name, form, and activities of the Lord are revealed by the Lord. Hare Krishna.
Further, Srila Prabhupada explains One is pure in the heart is never attracted by Bahirarthamanina, by the external energy. What the external energy tries? It is trying to urge the living entity to try to dominate the material nature. And therefore, what happens is when we are influenced by the external energy, there is an impetus to do the material activity. Right? The material activity, the Varnashram activity that devotees it is not material for him, it is spiritual. Right? Somebody is a programmer, goes to company and programs. But because the results are dedicated to Krishna, the activity becomes spiritual. But when we are influenced by the external energy, we may want to do that activity for other motive than pleasing Krishna. Sometimes we may want to do the spiritual activity for other motive, like puja, labha, pratishtha. Okay. And that is also another trap for a devotee. But a pure-hearted devotee is never disturbed by this. And how to become pure-hearted devotee? Srila Prabhupada focuses here that one should avoid offenses. So there are in total 75 offenses which should be avoided. From where is 75 coming? 64 offenses, they are being mentioned in Nectar of Devotion. And then there are 10 plus 1, 11 Nama Aparadh. And Prabhupada says, when these offenses are very carefully avoided, when a devotee strictly follows the rules and regulations, Bhakti Devi becomes very much satisfied with him or her. And at that time, such a devotee will be never disturbed by anything external. A devotee is thoughtful, and therefore he is called as Muni. So Muni is not necessarily only the speculative person. Narada Muni is also called as a Muni. Prabhupada says Shukadev Goswami is also called as Shuka Muni. And Vedavyas is called as Mahamuni. So Muni means thoughtful, and the devotee is always thoughtful, and therefore he is called as Muni. The conclusion is that when the heart is purified by the association of the devotees and avoidance of the offenses, and by chanting the holy names, then what will happen is Shraddha Ruchir Bhaktir Anukramishati. The name, form, and activities of the Lord will be revealed by the Lord from within. Atha Sri Krishna Namadi. Right. Swayameva Spuratyadaha. They will be revealed by the Lord from within. Text 60. Yatredam vyajate vishvam vishvasmin abhabhati yata tatvam brahma param jyoti akasham imavistrutam. Translation.
My dear Lord, the impersonal Brahman spreads everywhere like the sunshine or the sky. And that impersonal Brahman which spreads throughout the universe and in which the entire universe is manifested is you. Purport. In Vedic literature, it is said that everything is Brahman and nothing else. The whole cosmic manifestation rests on Brahman effulgence. The impersonalist, however, cannot understand how such a huge cosmic manifestation can rest on a person. Thus, this inconceivable power of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not understood by the impersonalists. Therefore, they are puzzled and always denying that the absolute truth is a person. This wrong impression is cleared by our Lord Shiva himself, who says that the impersonal Brahman, which is spread all over the universe, is nothing but the Supreme Lord himself. Here it is clearly said that the Lord is spread everywhere, just like the sunshine, by virtue of his Brahman feature. This example is very easy to understand. All the planetary systems are resting upon the sunshine, yet the sunshine and the source of sunshine are aloof from the planetary manifestations. Similarly, the sky or air is spread everywhere. Air is within a pot, but it also touches filthy places and sanctified places alike. In any case, the sky is uncontaminated. The sunshine also touches filthy places and sanctified places, and both are actually produced by the sun. But in case the sun is aloof from all filthy things. Similarly, the Lord exists everywhere. There are pious things and impious things, but in the Shastras, the pious things are described as the front of the Supreme Lord, whereas impious things are described as the back of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In Bhagavad Gita 9.4, the Lord clearly says, Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyakta murtina matsthani sarvabhutani na chaham teshva avasthitaha. By me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. This verse
Yeah.
of Bhagavad Gita explains that
will
the Lord
read
is
it
spread.
My dear Lord, the impersonal Brahman spreads everywhere like the sunshine or the sky. So there are two examples. And that impersonal Brahman, which spreads throughout the universe and in which the entire universe is manifested, is directly you, right? So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that how the Brahman is being explained in the Shastra, Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma, that the entire cosmic manifestation is just Brahman effulgence. But this Brahman effulgence, Brahmanohi Pratishtaham, is based on the personality of Godhead. The basis of Brahman is the Supreme Lord, personality. And Prabhupada says sometimes people wonder that how can whole cosmic manifestation can come from a person? You know, small, you mean that bluish boy from whom the entire material and the spiritual universes are coming? And people have param bhavam ajananto. They do not understand the higher nature. Just like materially also, one can see if you visit the Jamnagar refinery, okay, and if you visit the Jamnagar refinery the control room of the Jamnagar refinery, control room of the Jamnagar refinery is far more advanced than even the NASA control room, right? And then there is, literally thousands of acres of land. There are on the wastewater treatment plant, there are mango trees which are counted 1.5 lakh mango trees around. It's a area around. And somebody will say, "Oh, all this is based on only one person, Ambani." Right? Similarly, there are big airports and everything are being managed. So all this is maintained by only one person. Yes, you are limited doesn't mean people are limited, right? Similarly, we should not project our limitations on the Supreme Lord. And therefore people say, I cannot do anything. How can somebody do? Lord must be impersonal. No, the Lord is personality. Problem is, we do not understand the superior, higher nature of the Supreme Lord. And then there is example of a sun and the sky, how they are all pervading, how they are purifying the contaminated, at the same time they are untouched themselves. And therefore, Prabhupada says, the Shastra say, the pious things are the front of the Lord, Dharma is the face of the Lord, and Adharma is the back of the Lord. But everything ultimately originates from the Supreme Lord. Janmadi yasya yatah. So we will conclude here and continue tomorrow. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Prabhupada.
everyone.
Thank you,
Thank
Prabhupada.
Hare
you,
Krishna.
Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you everyone. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.